afternoon and welcome to Midday Live from the News Hub. My name is Wendy Lai. Coming up this afternoon. President Akufo-Addo in Togo to hold talks with all relevant stakeholders in the ongoing political crisis in the country. Verification of over 8,000 unemployed private nurses ongoing at the Health Ministry. And in entertainment, Musica and the Tourism Ministry to embark on a road safety awareness. On the foreign front, wreckage of the Iranian plane that crashed in Zagros Mountain found. We have details of these stories and many more lined up this afternoon. Let's start with one of our headline stories. And President Akufo-Addo is in Togo to hold talks with all relevant stakeholders in the ongoing political crisis in that country. He will be meeting with his Togolese counterpart, Faure Gnassingbé, and leaders of the main opposition party who are pushing for presidential term limits. Togo, in recent times, has witnessed a series of protests by opposition parties who are calling for a return of the country's constitution, which imposes limits on the presidential terms. The president's visit comes days after General Secretary of the People's National Convention, PNC, Bernard Mona, expressed concerns over President Akufo-Addo's seeming silence over the political crisis in that country. Now, let's go on the phone line and speak to Professor Antwi Danso. He's an international relations expert on this very matter. Good afternoon, Prof, and thanks for your time. Good afternoon, Prof.
Good afternoon.
And thanks for agreeing to speak with us. Now, President Akufo-Addo is in Togo to discuss the situation in that very country with his Togolese counterpart, Faure Gnassingbé. What can the president do?
Come again with the question. I think it was hiccuping a little.
All right. Now, I'm asking that President Akufo-Addo is in Togo to have discussions with his counterpart there and the main opposition leaders there. What exactly can the president do?
Well, it's a very important meeting. He is seeking to bring some calmness, and he's also seeking for a change in attitudes, both from the government and from the opposition, so that they chart a new course, a course that will really bring peace to the country. And I think that is the purpose.
Now, you talk about the opposition, which you just touched on. What solution can be acceptable to the opposition in Togo? Looking at situations we've even seen in some African countries, so of Zimbabwe and South Africa, we've had their presidents resign. What exactly will be acceptable to them?
Well, I think in the question of arbitration, you do not go, or mediation, you do not go in expecting that one will lower the guard fully and resign. I do not think the president would have achieved anything if he only went there to ask Gnassingbé to resign. Resignation will come from Gnassingbé himself if he feels that that is what is going to bring the peace. But I expect that what happened in Zimbabwe and South Africa is not what is going to happen. I strongly suspect that the president is going to make it possible for them to have a kind of a period of transition, a transition which will call for changes in either the constitution or the setup or the arrangement for governance. And that is what the president should seek. Because even if Gnassingbé resigns, you haven't solved the problem here, because you will still be a variable in the future determination of what happens. So I strongly suspect what is needed now in the mediation effort is a kind of resolution that will call for new change, a new social kind of engineering and political engineering that will bring about peace.
And with current happenings and what has lingered on, can he still call himself president in that state with where Togo finds itself?
Of course, yes, he is the president. He is the recognized president in the international system. That is why nobody could just enter the country without being invited, or the multilateral organization like the AU or ECOWAS or UN asking anybody to go in. there is a hurting stalemate, and that is why our president could go in at all. So he's still the recognized, bona fide president of the Republic of Togo.
All right, well, thank you so much for your time. I have been speaking to Professor Vladimir Ntrudan, so he's an international relations expert. You're still watching Midday Live, and the Public Service Workers Union of the Trades Union Congress has tasked utility service providers to be strategic in retrieving debt instead of overburdening the public with tariff increments. The union observed less than 50% of the power generated is accounted for because government institutions default in payment of energy consumed. Here's a report by Ibrahim Abubakar.
The Public Sector Workers Union says it will kick against any move by providers to increase electricity tariff. Addressing members of the VRA division of the union at their quadrennial delegates conference in Kumasi, General Secretary of the Public Sector Workers Union of TUC, Richard Ampabin, questioned why metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies default in paying electricity bills when budgets are allocated for utility payments. He believes effective revenue collection should be the way forward instead of increasing tariffs.
Whereas our tariffs are in the roof, our neighboring countries, specifically La Côte d'Ivoire, sells their power at a cheaper rate. So with all this, then we come back to say today that we are going to increase tariffs. Let us as a nation do well to collect what is being owed and see if something cannot be done.
Director of Human Resources at Volta River Authority, Ifua Gabra Safo, stressed on the need to restructure the authority to further enhance its activities. She assured of management's commitment to address concerns of union members.
I therefore take this opportunity to congratulate you all for your tireless efforts in leading your members. I indulge all staff to collaborate closely with management and other stakeholders to ensure that the process is successful and that VRA reaps the ultimate benefits.
Secretary General of Trades Union Congress, Dr. Yaoba, believes the VRA can be more efficient if political interference in their operations is minimized.
Government's policy is to separate thermal from hydropower generation, and that private sector can run thermal more efficiently than VRA, and that VRA is heavily indebted and overly dependent on government for support. These are lies. The most dangerous thing that politicians do is to believe their own lies.
The conference took stock of achievements and challenges in efficient service delivery.
And the verification of over 8,000 unemployed private nurses is currently ongoing at the Health Ministry. My colleague Kwabna Edujemfi joins us with some live updates from the ministry.
All right, thank you very much. So at the moment, coming to you live from the Ministry of Health are two streams of nurses. We are talking about the privately trained nurses and the government-trained nurses. And the government-trained nurses are those who completed their training in 2016, and then the private ones are the ones who completed right from 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, and then 2016. So those, we have 5 different batches, meaning those who completed in 2012 have been home for the past 5 years. And their main issue, these two groups, their main issues have been the fact that they have been home for this number of years after school and they've not had jobs to do. So they came here this morning at the Ministry of Health to talk to government or to let government know how they are suffering, since so far they've not had jobs to do. I'll quickly engage few of them to tell us exactly what their problems have been so far. Good afternoon. All right, okay, so tell us, which group do you belong to? Are you a private trained nurse or you are a government trained nurse?
Government trained nurse.
Okay, so for how long have you been home?
Almost close to 2 years now. 1 year, 4 months. 1 year, 2 months rather.
Okay, fine. And tell us, you've been home for this number of months. How has the situation been affecting you?
Oh, actually, most people consider me to be a failure simply because most of my colleagues, especially those doing the clinicals, especially the urgents, but once they see them working, they never knew the system is like we have a NAP, then registered general nurse, and then the NAP. So that is the challenges that we are going through. So most of them, when they see us in the society roaming about, and then the urgents are working, but they consider us being failures because they haven't seen us in uniform. So most of us, I personally, I've gone into Kambu driving for close to a year today. So actually, what I've practiced for the previous years, actually, I've just forgotten our all.
Okay, so let me also engage this other trainee nurse and find out from her. How has the situation been affecting you?
Seriously, the situation is very bad. Some of us, our parents are even tired of us at home. They don't even feed us again because they paid huge amounts of school fees and now we are sitting home. It's like we are a burden to them. And some of us too, we took loans to go to school and stuff like that. We are not working to pay these loans. So at least the government should do something for us. We've waited for 1 year. They've been messing up with our lives, telling us stories. We are tired. This time, if they don't give us our posting, we are sleeping here. We aren't going home.
Okay, so before I engage others, the point is that you've had the opportunity to talk to leadership of these trainee nurses, but at the moment they are talking to some officials of the Ministry of Health to see probably if they can tell them something to suit their hearts. But then they are ready. They have their bed nets here, they have their bed sheets here, they have their mattresses here, and they are so willing that they are going to sleep here if they do not get any positive result from the government. And you see, I also read part of their admission letters, and part of it is telling them that these nurses are not bonded nurses, meaning they have the opportunity to go outside and then look for jobs, but then they have to pay an amount of money to the government with interest, which according to them they have done. So they don't understand why till now they have not been able to, they have not been given jobs to do. And then the worst part of it all is that their other counterpart, that is the privately trained nurses, currently have been given jobs to do. Yeah, so we can still see some of them. They are still picketing here right in front of the Ministry of Health, and they are so willing to stay here till they get a positive result from the ministry.
Well, thank you very much indeed, Kwamna Edujemfi, for that update. We'll bring us some more in our subsequent bulletins. You're still watching Midday Live. Let's head straight to the court, where Anakwa High Court has quashed the decision of a juvenile court sentencing a student of Achimota School to 3 years in a correctional home. The court, presided over by Justice Kofi Dogu, held a trial judge Ed in ordering for a social enquiry report on handing the sentence, despite a required by law to do so before sentencing. And my colleague Salom Amenya has been in court. He's been following the story, and he joins me in the studio. Hello, Salom.
Hello.
Good afternoon. Now, walk us through how we got here.
Well, on January 4, 2017, the deceased Lily Donko visited a friend of hers who also is a final year student at the Achimota Senior High School at Community 8 in Tema. It was in the residence of this accused person that he went and brought out a single barrel gun belonging to the father. And during the trial, the prosecution tells us that he attempted firing the gun into the air, and the gun actually changed course and then ended up killing Lily Donko. And that is how far the case went.
Now, what else did the judge say delivering the judgment?
Well, in November 2017, lawyers for the accused person actually went back to court after the young man was sentenced in September to 3 years, which is supposed to be served in a correctional facility. They went challenging the judgment. They were arguing that the judgment was harsh, and also they were contending the jurisdiction of the judge who sat on the matter. And delivering the judgment, the judge, that is Kofi Doku actually upheld that looking at what went on so far as the trial was concerned, there were certain things that were not done right. When you look at the Juvenile Rights Act, it talks about Section 24 of that act talks about the fact that a court is supposed to order for a social inquiry report. And this inquiry must also be taken into account when delivering the judgment. This inquiry talks about the kind of person that the child is and all of that. And apart from that, too, a 6-month mandatory duration has been set. And this is to actually protect the child. You know what criminals go through and all the rest. So they don't want children to go through all of these. That is why they've set specific. And this case went to court in January before the full trial started in March. So when you do the calculation, per the law, starting from January, he should have sentenced by June. But he was sentenced in September because prosecution was looking at the fact that they felt the whole thing started in March. But per that calculation was wrong. So they missed the mandatory 6-month duration. Apart from that, too, it was revealed that they got the social inquiry report after the sentencing.
No.
Meanwhile, the law says that you are supposed to have it and it's supposed to guide you in sentencing.
Well, what does this really mean, knowing that a life was lost?
Yes, so that judgment has been quashed, and apart from that, too, the young man has been discharged but not acquitted. So it means that he can be rearrested.
Well, thank you so much, Stella Mamenya, for that update from courts. Do watch out for that story in our subsequent bulletins. And let's go back to the Ministry of Health, where you did hear my colleague and watch, Kwabena Edujemfi, give us some updates on the verification of over 8,000 unemployed private nurses currently ongoing at the Ministry of Health. And we're going back there for some more updates from Kwabena Edujemfi.
So we're still here at the Ministry of Health, where 2 streams of nurses are currently picketing right here. And we mentioned early on that these groups of nurses, this particular one are the ones who completed, these particular ones are the ones who completed in 2016, government-trained nurses, and till now do not have jobs to do. So they are here picketing, letting governments know exactly what their problems are. So can you please calm down so I can talk to some of you. Please calm down. Calm down for us, please. All right. Okay, good. Okay, good. Now, tell us, you guys have been here since morning. For how long do you guys intend staying here, picketing like this?
As for staying here, we don't have a number of days that we want to stay. We have come here for a purpose. Until we have been able to achieve that purpose, we are not leaving. We have stayed in the house for almost 2 years after completion. We have achieved our PIN, which is expired last month, January. And we need to go and renew the PIN. Meanwhile, we are not working. And we have we've written our exam and we have passed. Not that we have not passed, though. There are people in the house who are saying that we didn't pass. That's what we are home. We are not taking allowances. We are the first batch.
So how much do you pay for the renewing of the card?
50 cedis. 50 cedis. In Ghana, we are the only batch that have completed nursing without allowances. Only 26 batches. It is so pathetic. We are so tired. We are so, it's so disheartening.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. Now, on the other side too, we have the privately trained nurses who are currently undergoing their verification exercise for government to engage them or to find jobs for them to do. So we'll quickly also go there and then find out from them how their process has been going so far. These people started on the 14th of February for their verification exercise, and this verification exercise is as a result of some demonstration they conducted in December last year for the government to engage them because they felt sidelined. So for them, they have had results, they have had a positive result from the demonstration that they did in December last year. I have the president of this particular group here to tell us more about their purpose for which they are here at the Ministry of Health. Good afternoon, sir, and welcome to Midday Live on TV3.
Good afternoon, Chairman.
Okay, so tell us more. We already know that this is a verification exercise, but then tell us more about exactly what has been going on here.
Actually, the whole process was going on smoothly and successfully until those picketing came to destroy the whole thing. So we just have to mount a strategy, or so that our people can just go in and submit their forms. So that is what we are doing here.
Okay, that wasn't really the question I was asking you, but then since you've already answered that, let me move on to the other question, which has to do with the main purpose for which you guys are here and how the process is going for you.
The reason why we are here to submit our form for the verification. That is
Well, so we'll bring you some more of that shortly. But remember early on, I mentioned that President Akufo-Addo is in Togo to hold relevant talks with stakeholders on the ongoing political crisis in that country. We do have the president's speech at the opening session of the Togolese political crisis dialogue, which is currently ongoing. Let's take a listen to him.
And it is important that it is the Togolese themselves, and not any outside forces, that will determine the future of your country. It's extremely important for all of us to recognize that the destinies of our nations are in our own hands, and that therefore whatever emerges out of this dialogue represents the solutions that the Togolese people are looking for. What therefore is required of us on this occasion? It is that for all those who are assembled here, recognize that in a dialogue, the spirit of accommodation, the spirit of compromise has to be at the very forefront of the preoccupations of everyone. Why? Because the national interest of Togo demands it. And that has to be the overriding concern of everybody who will be participants in this dialogue, the national interests of the people of Togo. Their desire for a better life, their desire to live in security, their desire to live in freedom, their desire to live in a state governed by the rule of law, the principles of democratic accountability. Those are the desires that the political actors assembled here are meant to fulfill.
You're still watching Midday Live, and your law professor, Professor Stephen Asare, has appraised the research of his law professor, that's colleague, as well, Raymond Atuguba, indicating that the decisions of the Supreme Court judges are influenced by the political party that appointed them. The insinuation that some decisions by the Supreme Court are in favor of political parties who appoint those judges, whose core of a research conducted by the Professor Raymond Atuguba on 100 court cases. Now, this has generated some bit of mixed reaction. And this afternoon, I do have on the phone line Professor Asare to give us his take on this very research. Good afternoon, Prof, and thanks for your time.
Good afternoon, Wendy. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Now, you're reported to have given thumbs up to the research. Don't you think that it's too early, given that the methodology has not yet been made public?
Well, yes. Anytime you want to evaluate research, obviously you have to read it, and then you have to assess the quality and competence of the research. Nonetheless, the findings are in the mainstream now. And so we have to make some assumptions and then talk about what findings we have been presented. And one of the assumptions that we have to make is that the research has internal validity. So you assume that the research has internal validity. And then given that assumption, you proceed to talk about the findings, understanding that there's a caveat that you are assuming that the research has internal validity. So then there are a couple of issues. The first issue is the reaction of the judges The second issue itself is what does the research mean? And maybe the third issue, what legal implications or practical implications can be drawn from the findings, assuming they are correct. And that's what I said. I think the judges overreacted. So even if Professor Tuguba had said something that was not all that true or all that credible, they could have reacted better by saying, well, we disagree with this and that. But the way they reacted could be very well interpreted as an attack on freedom of expression and certainly an attack on academic freedom. I also have problems with the Chief Justice's statement that research of the type that Professor Tuguba was doing is alien to Ghana. I don't think it's alien to Ghana for us to do research. After all,
Prof, I'm having some bit of difficulty hearing you, because I was going to ask you the question about the judges mentioning that this is alien to our jurisdiction. If you can kindly speak up.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but if you can speak up a bit louder.
Okay, it's not alien. Research is never alien to our jurisdiction. We do all kinds of research. We've had the Legon Law Journal as well as other journals since I could remember in the 1940s, 50s, 60s, and so on. We've always been doing research. Judges, after all, wear gowns, wear wigs made from horsehair. Those are all alien. Those are all from other countries, but they have no problems wearing them. So why should they reject research findings? The most important thing is for us to understand the data. And I don't think the data should be interpreted as proof that the justices are biased or corrupt or consciously making decisions that favor the presidents who appointed them. That view, of course, is offensive, and I don't think any data can support that. The way I interpret what Professor Atuguba is presenting is that judges have discernible judicial philosophy, and presidents can anticipate that philosophy, and they appoint justices who fit their mode of legal reasoning. And so it shouldn't surprise anyone that if I am the president, I appoint a justice, and the justice tend to look at the law the way I look at the law. That is very normal. Look, I'll give you an example. I've sent about 2 or 3, maybe 4 cases to the Supreme Court, and almost always Justice Doche takes my position. It doesn't mean Justice Doche is biased in my favor or anything like that. It just means his reading, his philosophy of how the Constitution should be read is consistent with my philosophy of how the Constitution should be read. So when particular justices are ruling in some way that tend to go the way of NPP or NDC, it should be elevated from politics. It's not about politics. It's about judicial philosophy. On the court, on the Supreme Court, we have someone like Justice Dakeba, who says he reads the Constitution purposively. And then we have someone like Justice Doche, who I would say is more of a textualist. So just knowing that Doche is a textualist and Dakeba is a purposive person, you can predict where they will land on just about any case.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I have been speaking to Law Professor Stephen Asarian, who's giving us his take on happenings regarding the research done by Professor Raymond Atuguba. You're still watching Media Live. And a 40-unit toilet facility at the St. Mary's Senior High School in Kolegona in Accra is being converted into a teacher's accommodation. The move, according to the management of the school, is to bring teachers closer to students for improved academic work.
The St. Mary's Senior High School is one of the 2 girls' senior high schools in Accra with a student population of 1,069. 815 students are boarders. However, only 10 out of 51 teaching and 41 non-teaching staff reside on the school premises. Currently, only the headmistress and her 2 assistants, a senior house mistress, 5 house mistresses, and 2 non-teaching staff are accommodated on campus. The rest live far away from the school, making it extremely difficult for teachers to give up their best.
You can imagine every time we have 3 teachers who support supervision of prep. That's in the night. These teachers come here at 7 o'clock and they leave at 9 p.m., much as they are willing to help, it will affect their output.
In a bid to address the shortfall, the school management has decided to convert the 40-seater toilet facility into a one-story accommodation for teachers. The project is about 80% complete, and management is seeking support to complete it.
That's why we are very seriously looking for ways of getting accommodation on the compound to improve on supervision. And when some of them are around, even during prep, some might be willing to teach them for free to help them improve in the areas of weakness like core mathematics.
But wouldn't that affect the comfort of students?
We already have 56 cubicles at the school site, apart from the rest we have in the dormitories, and 56 cubicles as washrooms. It's enough during the day for the students. So we don't think the conversion will affect students using the washrooms.
Additionally, a Form 4 classroom block, which has not been in use due to the 3-year SHS policy, is also being converted into an accommodation for teachers. This, the headmistress, Grace Mansa Eshan, believes will help extend the teacher-student contact hours in order to improve academic work.
And the building housing the Mfantsipim Municipal Education Directorate in the Central Region is in a bad state, where its staff are calling for government's intervention to avert any future disaster. Here's a report by Lucy Ayambila.
Situated at Salt Pond and established in the 1980s, the story building housing the Ghana Education Service is in a sorry state. Deep cracks have developed all over the walls. The concrete parts holding the pillars are gradually peeling off, exposing the iron rods.
The cracks are now developing, wider faults here and there. But since we don't have any place to go, we are occupying in it now.
The situation poses a threat to staff as they fear workers could be hit by falling debris.
We don't feel comfortable at all because it's something like a death trap. But there is nowhere for us to stay, so we need to. We can't say that we will not come because of this.
Martha Aqua is the Director for Education for the Mfantsipim Municipal.
If nothing is done about it, the damage will be more. So if something can be done now, I think it will benefit all of us. And whatever money will be spent on it will not be very high. But if we leave it, as time goes on, it will keep on deteriorating, and we may have to spend more money in getting it right again.
Some staff members noted the building is situated on an earthquake zone, making it dangerous for habitation.
This is Midday Live. We have more shortly. Do stay. Thanks for staying. Let's do business now. I'm smiling because it has to do with a bit of food and snack. I mean, a traditional Ghanaian snack called Banche Akakro. In the Kan language, has generated employment for hundreds of people in the Jesu-Joabi municipality of the Shanti region. But this lucrative venture exposes food processors to health risk. Our Shanti regional correspondent, Beatrice Biogabra, is at Kwamu to engage women earning their income from this business.
A day na a kawa a mouse started sa ejmawese.
The attorney say, Nami Koya Jumana, ye na dintina sa brabo my din. Tina meton to Mako, Master Bora home. That committee one, I mean, who so be as a shutter, Yami, my any bear setting. Oh, Rama, see, I bear 12. Now, Abba. And I'm a friend and I'm besides, and I now coaching China. When my son was still earlier, he asked a ball at home, baby, I made Tommy Macuna. Now, besides, and now would you back could be out with your 60 pesos. And Tina may make a criticism, I may just success, the iron a bond only says, sir. And first one I may never boy me as Macunu, Nami Jay. Now, Menena call baby or Jenam called GB. Tiafen be GB, Nami Banami to soon crack, half and any pacono, mammy being cry, my man and Wessica. ana me hu say na wose me ankasa me ye medie ana me teme ho be ye medie nti tam na me standing there me nko a me ye na me de ko kuro me ye na me de ko echima science afi na me de me sister ba ko be kan me ho na afi edom baaye nti edom baaye na wose me gyan echima ne ko na me ye ma wo mo na me di gyan echima ne ko
enti o she adwuma na se no nipa sai e na o kekambo mo be fa koton o mo dwa banchene ade ne nyina nipa sai na o hwa wa fa o madwuma oni o mo ye adwuma
nipa be 25 na ma fa o mo
ma dodo sai ne women na me sai ne wo
be ma ba ko pede o yam banchene ma me na nko a ya kan nyina ye ma
fa so be na wenya e wo adwuma we sei emu.
Okay, you me credit na me ba penye no be 3 or 4 years, and be 4 years na ketwa no so. Na afi na okọ 2 years, eno ana me de ahwe nkola na amamo awie school, ba ko eye nurse, ba ko so awie school oye adwuma o Guinness. Na ba ko say owo training college, teachers training college.
Ye hwe enwusie no, eni eja na amugina ho na how by na wo in particular how by na e dia ba wa pomudin sen
se mani se ade sa me hu ade papa obi aminim no kra ba me hu no just wa ban me pa na se amamani ya me
nti no se emwa bi ka se e ba de amamo a e fa se be ya husie ni be kɔ form ani gya na amugina ho na anka mwa ban pa na obesire se obi pese ode dom a ofan be dom
Sanka ebetimi enya bia gas ebetimi yusu ama they say me bocha na 12 nti se ebetimi enya gas ebetimi ya yusu ama na no de me say enwisie enkuye enka no be boaye enya bibisa.
So what Enama is saying is that she's been doing this business for the past 25 years. It helped her really because when her husband was sacked from his job, she has used the benefit or the returns from this Banchikakro business to look after her children. One has finished nursing training, one is working now, and one is in the teachers training college. But the only challenge they are facing is the smoke from this traditional cooking stove that they are using now and the fire. She has eye defects now. In the evening, she can't see anything. So if there is any form of assistance that will come to her, they will need some improved stoves that the smoke will not affect them very much. But the business is not only limited to this Ejoso Jabin district. They move to the outer districts of Boase, Kumase, everywhere. People come here for the Banchikakro.
For interesting developments, do watch out for that story in our subsequent bulletins. And that's all for business. There's more shortly. Thanks for staying. You're still watching Midday Live, and your Shaman Divisional Dofsu has arrested a middle-aged man who hit the head of his niece, 6-year-old niece, with an iron rod for defecating on herself. TV3 investigations have revealed a patrol team in Asherman arrested the suspect on Friday night, but released him with no statements taken from him. After TV3 confronted Dofsu with evidence of the assault, the suspect was picked up from his hideouts and will be charged with assault and causing harm. I do apologize for those visuals there, but my colleague Komla Kluche has been following this story. Komla, tell us a lot more about this incident.
Good. Okay, so this story we chanced on it by an informant who lives in Asherman, specifically a suburb called Taifa. He had sent me a message and said this is what had happened in the village. Specifically on Friday night, we are told that this is not the biological child of the gentleman by name Apia. Now, he had gone for the child in the north, somewhere in Wa. This is a niece of his, a 6-year-old niece. We're staying with him and then the girlfriend in a makeshift structure. So when they brought the child about 2 years ago, he has been abusing the child several locations, most especially whenever the child eases on herself. This is a child, and where they live, they have only a KVIP. Whenever the child asks for money to go to the KVIP, the man would assault the child severally. This particular one happened on Friday night, where the child asked for money and he didn't give the child the money, and she went and defecated on herself, and he used an iron rod to hit the head of the child multiple times, to the extent that people who lived by heard of the screams of the child. What he did was, after he beat the child, he dumped the child outside the makeshift structure to sleep on a mat, and the people around came and saw the child, and they called the patrol team to come and have a look at it to see what they can do about it. Apparently, when the patrol team arrested the guy, they actually handcuffed him on a Friday night, 2 hours after they came in. The long and shortness of it is that the gentleman was released by the patrol team in Ashaiman without any caution statement taken from him.
Okay, I'd have to hold you there. We know that the police has taken over, and you're bringing us some more in a subsequent bulletin. So don't miss our bulletins that follow after midday news. We have News in Brief and News 360 as well. So watch out for this story, and we'll bring you some more updates on that. Next, you're still watching Midday Live. Let's go for international news now.
The wreckage of a plane that crashed in Iran on Sunday has been found, but the reports cannot be confirmed. The Asiman Airlines passenger plane came down in the Zagros Mountains on Sunday, and all 66 people on board are feared to have been killed. Heavy wind and snow forced search and rescue teams to stop work on Sunday, but they resumed the search on Monday. The ATR 72-500 twin-engine turboprop was traveling from Tehran to the southwestern city of Yasuj. The crash plane was 25 years old, according to Iran's Civil Aviation Organization. Vice-Chancellor of the University of Zimbabwe has been arrested in connection with an investigation into the awarding of a doctorate to former First Lady Grace Mugabe. Levi Nyagura was detained by the country's anti-corruption agency to be charged with abuse of office. Mrs. Mugabe was awarded a PhD just months after enrolling in 2014, despite it usually taking years to complete. The PhD's authenticity was questioned because her thesis was not published along others at the time. The document was only published online in January this year, 4 years after she graduated, and has been the subject of intense speculation since. She was awarded the qualification by her husband and then President Robert Mugabe, who was also the Chancellor of the university at the time.
Next, entertainment. President of the Musicians Union of Ghana, Bice Osei Kufuor, has disclosed the union will soon embark on a campaign to have all major roads leading to regional capitals more motorable. The campaign is motivated by the spate of road crashes, which has claimed many lives, including seasoned entertainers.
The showbiz fraternity has, over the period, lost several seasoned personalities and role models through avoidable road crashes.
You will sky a day and your baby will mind a bread, say a bed, dear, my musicano, your dibi, a boy who buy, said a bear, Laura Pensiano, and so that year. And who may hear, some who enemy, Yanina, you bet 2 amount, yet the idea way Chabansa are buying it. If we say it be told me 2003, mean a head on collision and Camus, Yame and a Yima Fufi, a bit too terrible Chaka, oh yeah, a bit too Kwame Uswansa, a bit too Susie Williams, a bit too Vibrant Fire, a bit about to Miami Aba Ebony. Dabendani a betnas and a Yankasa.
Musica President Bice Osei Kufuor disclosed Musica will soon engage Parliament and other stakeholders on the need to make major roads safer to travel on.
A bread to see a Becassa, anti Parliament, Muhayanim, and your Parliament in Kwana Yamra. Ye as citizens, or my penika was it be citizens and do not be spectators. Ye personally be spectators. Say your citizenship right, you know, ye activating and let they are. Ye back near the Mra, a private members bill, upper Parliament. Say, oh my engines, said the Beya, law require all regional capitals. Said the Beya, law require MP bill. said the Abaya, Yabekai, ya this year, Omashri Omunka, Afa Lawyer Pension, ye two Sanamui, Namin Sanamui, or my Ghana, Mobadia so.
Minister for Tourism, Arts and Culture, Catherine Afeku, thinks the time for the showbiz fraternity to make a bold statement on road safety is now.
This is a rallying call. This is a clarion call for the musicians, the artists of Ghana to come together and to make a bold statement on road safety, on the lives of the precious, talented, creative citizens of this nation. Let us immortalize this tragedy. Say, Bibi Papa Ebefi Mwaba, never again will a star, a bright star such as Ebony, leave this planet in this manner.
She assured of her ministry's readiness to support the campaign aimed at curbing road accidents.
The Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture will support you. Let us make a statement so our sister Ebony's death will not be in vain. There are too many of us dying on the roads, but we have to use our talent, we have to use our creativity to send a message, to educate the citizenry. One life lost is one too many. It starts today. Let this not be a talk.
And that ends it for Midday Live. Thank you so much for watching the bulletin this afternoon. Enjoy the rest of our programs. I'm Wendy Lai. Do have a good afternoon.